guys. Yes, it is us, just us people. Yes, you came to the right place. Thank you so much for being here. It's been so long. We haven't seen you guys. Again, remember, this platform is for people like you and I, where we are free thinkers and free speakers. We speak our minds, we speak our thoughts, we speak our opinions. We want to share with each other so that we may continue growing. Today, we have something that is a hot, juicy, guys, this is right now out there. People are talking about it. So before we go into all of that, I would like to introduce, my name is Mokonzi. But yes. My name is Mokonzi, but I would also like to introduce my co-host, Shadia. Please, Shadia, beautiful Shadia, come on in.
Thank you, Mokonzi, and welcome everybody. We have missed you, and we are so glad and so grateful that you're here. So we got something juicy for you. We got something exciting for you. It's a pretty current event at this moment. We're talking about Dave Chappelle and whether or not what happened with Dave Chappelle was freedom of comedy, or was Dave Chappelle a victim of cancel culture? So I'm really excited to dive into this with you today, Mokonzi, and with you guys. So thanks for being here.
All right, guys, you guys ready? DJ, drop the beat and another one.
All right, so this juicy topic is it's everywhere. There's memes about it now. There's pictures about it. And just to give a background, so like, I don't want to assume that everyone has seen Dave Chappelle's special, nor do I want to assume that everybody's heard about it. What's happening is Dave Chappelle released a special on Netflix, a comedy special on Netflix, stand up, and it's called The Closer or The Closer. I don't know, I think it's The Closer. And so on this stand-up comedy, he makes a lot of jokes about the LGBTQ plus community. In particular, he gets a lot of flack about how he deals with trans people, right? So he did this special against all recommendations of people have known him to be someone who wasn't necessarily I don't want to say he wasn't pro-trans, but the trans community does not believe he's pro-trans. So that being said, he made all these jokes. And now, as a part of the backlash, people want to cancel Dave Chappelle. Trans people, LGBTQ plus people want to cancel him. And then even the trans people that work for Netflix are walking off the job because of his special being affiliated with Netflix. So that being said, the question of whether he was just doing freedom of comedy or is he a victim of cancel culture is such an interesting question. I know people who do comedy, and just in general, people, comedians, they almost nothing is off limits for them, right? And so, but it's in the name of laughter, it's in the name of joking, it's in the name of fun. Now, as Mokonzi said in our intro, we are free thinkers, open-minded people. We speak our minds, but we also make sure to speak from a place of love and a place of positivity. That being said, I believe that this comedy special was hilarious, right? However, I'm not trans, and so I couldn't have looked at it from their viewpoint. To them, what he said was offensive, and to them, what he said was like not positive for their community. So while there should be freedom to comedy and freedom of, speech in general, I think it's also to be considered that some things can be a little bit, what's the word, maybe tasteless. So for me, because I'm lighthearted, and I can kind of just take a joke, I guess. I don't know how to say it. Like, trans people can take jokes too, but I'm just gonna speak from my viewpoint. Because I don't necessarily take things personally. It was like, ha ha, he he. But I can understand their anger if they felt targeted or if they felt like he was talking down on them, right? But personally, I do believe that he is maybe a victim of the cancel culture. I say that because cancel culture hits him where it hurts, right? So if Dave Chappelle makes a significant amount of his money from these comedy specials, and you guys want to cancel him, then you're hitting him on his pockets. Oh, Mackenzie, you want to say something?
Yes, I have a question for you. Can
Yes.
you kind of give us a really fast a definition, your own definition of cancel culture for the people out there, for them to kind of get an idea of what that can be, right? That looks like.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's where I actually clarified that. Okay, cancel culture to me, in my personal definition, is when people gather together, groups of people rally together, and they mostly gain a lot of support with online community. They rally together to no longer support an artist, whatever genre, whatever, area of expertise this person is in. So, for example, Dave Chappelle's art form is comedy. So they're going to cancel him and not support him by not watching his videos, not purchasing any of his things, not attending any of his shows, like hitting him in his pocket. So cancel culture to me is really aggressive. It's like, I'm upset with you and I'm not going to take you to court. I'm not going to come to you directly. I'm just going to gather a whole bunch of people and we're going to figure out a way to no longer to withdraw our support of you and withdraw any kind of support that will go towards you. And that I'm sure hurts. I'm sure it hurts. You see different artists and Instagrammers or whatever who've been canceled and they don't bounce back. It's very unfortunate. They don't bounce back. Cancel culture really can ruin someone's career. Real quick, Dave Chappelle said something about it. Basically, like, he doesn't care, right? And I think it's a personality thing. It's just how he is. He's kind of like, oh, God, cancel me if you want to. But in general, like, cancel culture can damage a person's entire career permanently. So now there's a smear on his name within the trans community, excuse me, because of his remarks. And the thing about it is, in his special, he said, like, I don't dislike you guys. I crack jokes. I have trans friends. He told a really sentimental story about a trans friend he had, and so forth and so on. I think that his comedy, again, and I use the word tasteless loosely because tasteless insinuates that it's really bad, but it could have been interpreted as insensitive to the LGBTQ plus community. I found it very funny how he tied the jokes in. I found it very smooth. I found it not aggressive. I found it like he wasn't targeting any one person. He just kind of made jokes. But anyway, I just think that cancel culture is dangerous because we've all, said and or done things that we are not proud of. But, if you say or do something that you're not proud of and you lose your job because of it, that's a bigger issue than just, I said or did something that, was offensive. And now, I'm in trouble for it. Like, you're hitting them in his pockets. And when you mess with a person's money, you're messing with their lifestyle. You're messing with their everything. So I don't necessarily agree with cancel culture, nor do I support canceling Dave Chappelle because of his remarks. And I also believe that his efforts to clean that up were genuine. So he says, like, at the end of it, he goes, I don't want to do another comedy special or talk about trans people until we sit down and the trans people understand that we are on the same page, or something along those lines. I can't quote it directly, but it was something along the lines of, I don't hate you guys. I'm pro all of that. I don't have any hatred towards you. I mean, it's just a fun topic to poke at. Comedians do things differently, right? There's some comedians that do their whole set by cracking jokes on audience members. Some that do their whole set about cracking jokes about Black people, cracking jokes about white people. And no one ever was like, oh, I'm going to cancel him for cracking a white joke, or a Black joke, or talking about me in the audience. But with this trans community, they are like at his throat and ready to just cut all ties. Don't ever support this man again. So yeah, I think comedians should be free to speak their mind, speak their piece, say whatever they want to say to make people laugh. as long as it's tastefully done. And I don't necessarily think that his was extremely tasteless. So
So what do you, so what do you think about his comedy that wasn't tasteful? What did you see that you can remember that you think that maybe, that was a little bit of kind of, weird, moment, if you can kind of share that with us?
that's a good question. There were a few things, but there was one, and I can't remember verbatim, right? There was one where he was talking about getting into a fight with a woman in a bar, but he didn't know she was a woman at first. And so he was like, man, I'm trying to fight this guy or whatever. And then he said, the girl said, well, I wish you would stop calling me a sir. I'm a woman. And then he kind of switched it up and was like, oh, well, I said it in a calm voice. And he said, bitch, I'm about to punch you or something, but it was like, that one, he said something else. I can't think of it right now, but he said a couple of things that were just kind of like making fun of trans people or poking fun at them that could have been taken as offensive. Now, I thought they were hilarious, like I said, and then he said something even about how you can tell a trans person, right? And I remember reading something one time about trans people feeling so self-conscious about how they look. So anyway, I can't pinpoint them, but yeah, he said a few jokes about, trans people that could have been offensive.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, thank you so much, first of all, for everything that you just shared with us. I hope the people out there do understand, again, like you said when you were starting, this is a place of love, and this is not a place of hate, of discrimination, of separation. This is a place of unity. We're trying to unite people by showing other people's differences and showing that differences can actually unite instead of separating, and we're losing that. Coming to the subject, movements like cancel culture, I'm not saying it's a completely, it's 100% bad movement, but these types of movements have been impacting now society in a way where it's not allowing for dialogue between people, right? It's just, okay, he said this, he did this, in the media, whatever, it becomes amplified. Some things that the person didn't even mean to, in their message, starts becoming what they're focalizing on, right? And then next thing you know, it's like, we want to cancel him, we don't want to talk to him, we don't want to get to know her, get to share our experiences, share our viewpoints, so that we can continue growing as a whole. Now, like you said, I was, I watched that special myself, and one of the things he said when he started the special, he was like, this is gonna be my last one for a long time. He kind of knew that it was coming for him. The people will be coming for him, but he also had a message in it, right? And when he was talking at one point, he said, people hear me, listen to me, but they don't hear what I'm saying, right? Because there are certain things that I'm trying to say that people don't necessarily understand. And so when you're looking at Dave Chappelle's comedy, which I understand and I agree with Shadia 110%, that there were parts of that that may have been a little strong, but I think that we need to also look at the underlying messages that he put down as well, right? One of the things that he was underlying there was also um, what happened to that baby, right? That baby went out there. I don't know exactly what was going on with that situation, but all I remember was Shadia. At some point, I'll get Shadia back in. Um, Shadia, please just tell us real quickly what was happening.
Okay, I was like, I know. Okay, the baby had a concert. During the concert, he did this part. You know, during concerts, when they give you a segment, like, you know, if you from so and so, put your hands up. So he said a comment. It was like, well, if you came here without AIDS tonight, put your lighters in the air. And if you wasn't performing oral sex in the parking lot on a man or something, put your lighters in the air. Basically, just insinuating that if you're not a homosexual and you don't have AIDS, put your lighter in the air. They were.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I just knew what I had heard was that he had, you know, challenged some people, and that was it. But anyways, in that aspect, when he was talking, it was talking about how um, because of those remarks, they started trying to cancel the baby, right? And like you said, cancel culture also impacts your bottom line as an artist, right? And you know, this platform is about freedom of speech because we're seeing less and less of it, it seems like, because the media seems to be like, oh, that person said this, you know, certain types of media, you know, not all media, but certain types of media. You guys know the type of media I'm talking about. But you know, also somebody said something that they don't want the public to know, then you know, all of a sudden they go and crucify that person, and we come behind, and you know, as a society, and we go and we try to cancel that person without necessarily knowing exactly what happened, where this person is coming from. You know, you don't know their past, you don't know, you know, their present, you don't know exactly what they meant. You know, take the time to know the person. Now, because of that, I think that freedom of expression needs to stay and needs to you know, strive always, right? And I'm saying that why? Because that's how you can start a conversation with people that have different views, with people that have different stands, right? So that at some point in time, you can bring them to a sort of a middle, because not all the time you can bring them to a middle, but at least allow them to get a better understanding of each other, and and grow, because it's all about growing. But yeah, for me, when I look at that, I think that it was comedy, you know. And as a comedian, as an artist, he has the right, you know, because like Shadia said earlier, you have comedians that are, you know, making jokes about blacks, they're making jokes about, you know, whites. And sometimes people feel like, okay, if you're not, you know, that person,
You can't crack the joke if you're
you
not from that
can't
community. Yeah.
you can't speak about it because you're not part of that community, right? But I think that no, you know, some things that you see, you know, you've lived, you've experienced with a certain community. Sometimes it's like, and it was funny to you, and you are an artist. I'm not a you know, a funny guy, but you know, it's good to have that in your delivery as well, right? Be able to have that freedom, that flexibility, where you're not just boxed. It seems like we're all boxed in the United States of America, when here this is the land of the free mind, the people that are outside the box and not the people that are inside the box, right? So yeah, I don't really condone a lot of what he did. I don't understand some things that a lot of what he said, but I understand some things he said might have been, challenging for other people. And I think, you know, um, he may have had a different, he may have had a different way of like delivering it, right? But um different artists have different delivery systems, and just because of everything that's going. And another thing he was saying was that when you look at that community seems to be sometimes going after the Black community as a whole, right? And and for him, it was like, okay, we don't come, after you guys. That's number one. And if we do, it's like, woe are you, right? So if that is the case, like, how can we ever move forward? Because we are all fighting for the same thing. We're all fighting for our rights. We're all fighting to get proper opportunities, to get out of these different discriminations, these different bondages, right? And because of it, because our fight is similar, we should come together and work together instead of attacking each other, right? So that was also what I took from it. Maybe some of you guys didn't take that from it, but that's also something that I took from what he was talking about. Another point I wanted to make real fast is the point of his friend that was a trans, right? And we can say everything that we want to say about him and everything that he did, but we don't necessarily know exactly who he is before we start judging his art, right? It's like me judging Picasso and say, why is he painting, half naked woman, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, no, this is messed up. We gotta burn Picasso's stuff, or nobody should buy that because he's painting half naked woman. Oh, blah blah blah. Like, no, you didn't know the person. You didn't necessarily know what they were wanting to put out, right? So you got to take that step back. But he had a friend that was trans, and he gave that friend one of the biggest opportunities to open a show for him, So if it's all about him being against the trans community, I mean, we can't really come at him like that, right? Because he actually did have a good friend that he gave an opportunity to come to a big show and open a show for him as well. But with everything said, I think Shadia touched on so much. As always, she is a wealth of knowledge. And we always try to, like, not go too far with what we're saying. But this one was kind of a hard subject to also tackle. But again, before we close today, I just want to repeat, this is a place of love. I have nothing against the trans community. I have nothing against the Black community. I have nothing against the African community. I have nothing against the white community in Europe or in America, white Europeans or Europeans. I have no problems with anybody. I love everybody. If you guys see the friends that I have an amalgam of friends, right? They're all shapes, sizes, colors, everything. One of my best friend just came out on Facebook a couple of weeks ago. I will not put her name out here, but I have love for everyone, alike. So just so you guys know, this was a little hard one, but we have to talk about cancel culture and see how we can change the cancel culture to a discussion culture, not a cancel culture, but to discussion culture. All right, guys, thank you so much. You guys know what to do on this for us on this platform. Please comment, subscribe, turn the notification bell, and like as always. That helps us a lot. That's how we can spread the word and be seen everywhere. And don't forget, you are welcome on this platform where we can go with you toe to toe. And I put my money on Shadia. Shadia, if you have something to kind of close us out before I finish, please go ahead. If not,
just to say that you dropped some gems too, and thank you so much as always. I love this. I love doing this. We have some awesome discussions. So as always, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for pressing play. Thank you for being here with us. Please give us your feedback because this is a fun one.
Thank you so much again, guys. Have a wonderful one. Peace. See you guys on the next one. And before I go, I was gonna forget. Before I go, yeah, I know you know the two fingers. Before I go, good morning, good afternoon, guys. Good evening, good night, and everything in between. Peace, love, blessings. See you guys on the next one.